Tonight, a pride flag is flying once again outside the Outagamie County Courthouse after deputies say the first one was taken down and doused with gasoline to be set on fire. Deputies arresting an Appleton man who now sits in jail awaiting formal charges. Samantha Cavalli tells us why the timing appears intentional.
It was meant to send a message of inclusion on the first day of Pride Month, but by mid-morning, that message became a target.
The first initial thought for me is just one of disappointment and sadness that especially on the first day of what is considered kind of a global Pride Month.
The sheriff's office says staff with the criminal justice unit saw a man tampering with the flags outside the courthouse's main entrance around 10 a.m. Monday. Investigators identify him as Stephen William Paltzer of Appleton. They say he took the pride flag down, laid it in the parking lot, and poured gasoline on it. But deputies stopped him before he could light it.
It obviously is reprehensible and pathetic. I think it's disconcerting to see someone hold that level of disdain for just an entire community of people.
Just over my left shoulder is the second pride flag that was put up commemorating the start of Pride Month. The first flag only up for nearly 3 hours before it was taken down and doused in gasoline.
We want to continue to assure people that we are a welcoming and inclusive community that is open to everyone.
Zabel says moments like this can make people feel less safe, but he says the response is to keep showing up.
The queer community is not a stranger to this kind of unprovoked hatred, but one day at a time, one person at a time, and just keep going.
Johnson says people can have different opinions about Pride Month, but violence crosses a line.
Even if you have a different viewpoint or don't even believe that this type of Pride Month should be celebrated, there's a difference between having an opinion and then getting violent with that opinion.
Paltzer was booked into the Outagamie County Jail after the incident, where he awaits formal charges. Reporting in Outagamie County, Samantha Cavalli, Action 2 News.